Discussions hit the floor, we're steady. Truths unfold like cards on a table. Raw and real, always unstable. Tuesday talk, we're vibing right. Topics blaze like city lights. Truth and laughs, we keep it live. Tuesday's the night we all thrive.
Good evening, SBC. Good evening, SBCC. Good evening, BSL. And good evening to everyone else within the sounds of my voice. North, south, east, west. And guess what? All points in between. You've tuned in to the September 23rd, 2025 edition of SBC Tuesday Talk. And I am your host and facilitator, van driver, teacher, administrator, facilitator, and most importantly, head chef, Mr. Mike Walker. Glad to have you with us. Glad you can join us on this Tuesday evening. You could have been doing something else, but you chose to spend at least an hour or so of your time looking at my handsome face. So I'm glad y'all came here this evening. And we hope and pray that you had a good day today. And if not, well, you made it through this day. And we pray that tomorrow be a even better day for you. Right? Good. Okay, we got a lot to cover tonight, y'all. So, and we got company. So y'all need to behave yourselves. Okay? Behave yourselves, y'all. Act like y'all been somewhere. But let's do the salutations. We got to do that. And if you're a first timer here, let us know where you let us know and where you coming watching from, and let's just get started. Okay. First up from Huntsville, Valerie Zachary Cabot. Good evening to you, young lady. From the 205 from the Beeham metro area, Marcus Wilbane. Good to have you here, sir. From the Lone Star State, Pastor Darlene Duffy Collins. Good evening to you, ma'am. Yes, good evening. From Queens, New York, Sonia Neal. Good to have you here. Tasha Lachey. Good evening to you, ma'am. From our nation's capital, Shireen. Good evening to you, ma'am. Cuz. From the Motor City. Good evening to you. Good evening. Great to have you here. Also from Huntsville, Angel Kelly. Great to have you here. From Baltimore, Latoya Randolph. Good evening to you. Rochelle Jones from the Windy City. Good evening as well. Sandra Renee Chambers from Belsma. Good evening to you. Great to have you here. Rashawn Cheyenne Anderson Felton. Good evening to you, ma'am. I think this is your first time. I don't recognize the name. I'm glad to have you here. This is your first time, and hopefully it will not be your last. So, okay. Pastor Reginald Balders from South Carolina. Good evening to you, sir. Glad you could join us. Minister Erica Stanley from Kansas City, Mo. Good evening to you. Glad you could join us as well. Okay, we're going to have some more people coming in. Okay, well, guess what? It's time to get this show started, though. It's time to get this show good and started. We got a special guest, though. And I'm going to be messy tonight. Okay? I've been trying to get her on here for the longest. I've been trying to get this woman on here for the longest, though. And we've known each other, good gracious, maybe 13 years. Worked together. Well, no, I'm gonna tell our story when I put it out here, though. But I'm a you know how we do at church. Like we read her credentials, though, and she got a lot of them, though. So just sit back and listen. And my guest, Dr. Clarissa, now I know her name and I can't pronounce it tonight. Now that's a doggone shame. Clarissa Fells Smith is known as the caregiving doctor and is the founder of Caregiving International, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting family caregivers and their families. She has been on the front line of care for 43 years, 36 of which have been as a licensed occupational therapist working in geriatric rehabilitation, nursing homes, community health, home health, and church ministry environments. She is the author of over 30 children's books, including 12 ebooks and a national published columnist. And she is a nationally published columnist. She is also a TV and radio host who has impacted thousands of families with her passion for serving others. Clarissa is the daughter of the late Pastor Clarence Fells Sr. and caregiver for her mother, who has advanced dementia. Clarissa has 3 children and 3 grandchildren and pursuing another doctoral degree in education and leadership management to globally lead generations of family caregivers with her knowledge, passion, and expertise in family care giving. Okay, yes, we got that right there. So I know her though, and it took her long enough to get on here though. So y'all, like we say at church, raise your right hand. No, we ain't gonna do all that. So let's welcome our guest, Dr. Clarissa well, our guest, my friend, Dr. Clarissa Fells Smith. How are you doing, beautiful?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here talking about my favorite topic. Yeah, thank you, Mike, so much for your invite.
That
Yeah.
is great, y'all. How long we've known each other?
Oh, it's been about 14, 15 years, but I need to tell the audience something about you. Yes, they know you're a gifted genius graphic artist? Do they know that? Answer me.
I think they do. I think they
Yeah,
know it.
creatively gifted, can take one stroke of a pen and make it look like a genius has done it, or a whole plethora of the mosaic. So God has given you that gift, and we all have gifts and talents, and that's maybe one of your many. I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate you having me on, and thanks. Hello to the audience. I got my glasses on tonight.
Okay.
I can see.
Okay. Well, we both got our specs on. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay. But we worked together. We didn't get mad and fell out with each other, and then we worked together again and
Call you
everything. Though.
up and say, "Hey, what you doing? What you doing? I
So
need some."
so so it's really more than just client. Relate. This is a friendship.
That's
you
right.
know, she I can't get rid of her, but hey, I wouldn't trade her. I wouldn't trade her though. Okay, enough of the mushiness. Okay. Oh yeah, now here's interesting right here. Oh Gaddy, how you doing today, sir? Now he is the one. I don't even know if you know him though, but he's the one that got you and I together working together.
No.
Yeah, at the church, I think it was some of your kinfolk
Okay.
uh at the church. We need you needed your work done and got us together,
Okay.
exchanged numbers, and here we are.
Wow.
So
Thank you so much. We're gonna make that connect. Yeah.
okay, 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 and everybody's welcoming you, cuz yes, welcome, and writing too. Okay, he's talking about me. Yeah, welcome, Dr. Smith. Hello and welcome. Okay, that's good. Let's get started though. Let's get started. Ah, I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Okay.
What got you into this field
Okay.
of
I'm a native
caregiving?
I'm a native of Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So after high school, many years ago, I came directly out of high school and became a CNA. So as a CNA, I worked through college. I continued to be a CNA all the way through college. Some things happened early in my life. One thing that happened was I was always exposed to elders, great grandparents on both sides. So being exposed to people and caring, I was in an environment to where we had to help. Back in the day, we had to go bring grandma that was in the back of the room. We had to go get her some food. We had to go help her sit up. We had to help clean up. I was exposed to those things early on. So I think that how our environment starts also facilitates caregiving. But I changed my major in my sophomore year from becoming an attorney to becoming a therapist. And I have not left the profession. I feel called to be here, thankful and humble to be here.
Okay, okay, that is. I didn't know about the attorney part though, but okay, that is interesting, right? And that's an interesting pivot though, if lack of a better term though, from studying law
Yeah.
to getting involved in caregiving like that though.
But you know what, Mike? I'm still doing somewhat law because I'm advocating for elders, advocating against elder abuse and neglect. I'm talking to family members early now and meeting family members everywhere about how to advocate for your loved one. And I'm passionately feel that we should not be throwing away our aging parents. I'm not going to go down that road because I want to discuss that a little bit later on, but we should be doing what we can for our parents as long as we can. If we can't provide the care, we should be trying to make sure that we have provisions for it. So I'm still advocating. I'm still on the line of being a staunch advocate, and people, for the most part, don't like advocates. When you're standing up for what God says and how we should be treating our elders and honoring our parents, whether that be you're taking care of a child with special needs or an adult who's mentally challenged, we you get in the ground what you put in it. So whatever you put in it is coming back up. You plant a turnip, you're not going to get a tomato. So I've had a rich life. I feel wealthy and blessed to be able to serve and to know how to do that within boundaries. And we're going to talk about that. And I want to go into some of the statistics about what's going on with our caregivers. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot. We're going to cover just a little bit, but we're going to cover enough to where they can get the gist of some stuff they probably already know that's going on.
Okay. Well, since you brought up statistics though, what are some statistics
Okay, so
on yeah,
yeah, on
on
care.
caregiving today? Yeah.
So Rosalind Carter, First Lady Rosalind Carter, talked about we have four kinds of people in the world. Period. You have those who have been caregivers before, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be a caregiver in the future, and those who will need the services of a caregiver. Nobody escapes it, especially if you're going to live here in age. And what I love about God is He is a God of diversity. There is no respect of persons because as we age, at some point you're going to need somebody to do something for you. God looked around and as the chief caregiver, he looked and said, "We got different skin tones, we got different languages, we have different customs." But God says that He so loved the world that He gave. So He loved and He gave. Caregiving is a ministry, it's a service, it's something that you do, that you're called to do. We're going to talk about how do you know you're called to do it. Many people are involved in the field and they're not called to do it. I have
Mm,
some startling statistics, Mike, that I want to share with the audience that I've been researching. And the first one is that studies have revealed by Stanford Medical student studies division that 30 to 40% of those who are taking care of Alzheimer's, relatives with Alzheimer's disease, die before the person that's receiving the care. 30 to 40%. If you're a caregiver, you're taking care of someone with dementia, Alzheimer's type, you have an increased risk of dying. If you are at least 18% of people, men and women who are taking care of their spouses, die. Okay, ahead of the person who's receiving the care, the person who's sick. And the increased mortality risk is associated with stress. Okay, the stress of doing it all, the emotional toll that it takes on your body, how you neglect yourself taking care of somebody else. And that impact causes your body to go into overload where you start developing arthritis, and caregivers are overloaded. And we're going to go into why is that? How is it that you got 7 or 8 siblings and
You,
brothers and nobody's helping?
you
Uh,
know, but when you said that about the caregiver dying before the person they taking care of, I thought about Gene Hackman
yeah,
and his wife. You know, his wife, they, if y'all know, they found them both dead.
right.
She was his caregiver. But how the reports are reporting, she died first. Died, and him being dementia,
Yeah, it's one of the
he,
tough.
I mean, he might have died a week later. I mean, so that is an interesting situation right there when you brought up that statistic right there.
Yeah, and Mike, I will never forget. I was working in home health in a rural part of Alabama, and where you
Hmm.
dirt roads. I went knock, 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 knock on the door. The wife normally would come to the door and say, "Oh, he's in the back of the room." This particular day, knock, knock, knock on the door. I was expecting to see the wife, and somebody else came to the door. I said,
Mm.
"Such and such, where?" I'm just going to say Jones. Where's Miss Jones? Uh, come on in, Clarissa. Sit. The wife had died from exhaustion. She had worked herself to death, taking care of her husband, quit her job, because caregivers oftentimes have to quit their job, quit her job, and was doing it full time without any help. Now, granted, she had 4 or 5 children in right there in the area, but she took it on to bathe him, to dress him, to lift him, to transfer him, to give him a bath, to give him the medicine, everything that goes with caregiving. And she dropped dead washing dishes in the kitchen, and I had to sit on the couch. And that was just one of my first experiences years ago. And I know that caregiving it can take its toll, as rewarding as it is. Hear me now, it's rewarding, Mike, but as rewarding as it is, it can take you down under. And I want to talk about how at the end what we can do about that, and how we can still take care of our parents, do the best what we can for our parents as long as possible, our loved ones, whether that's a neighbor or a relative. I'm gonna talk about why this is a calling. It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I have one more statistic to share, is that
Hmm.
this is startling, Mike, that elderly caregivers, elderly, okay, hello, um, 63% of elderly caregivers, those are like grandparents, are doing a lot of caregiving. We're dropping our children off on elders. 63% higher risk of mortality. 63% by being an elder caregiver. The stress is high. They're already on a lot of medications. Many have already had a career, and now they're having to take care of someone else. So that's another one. Elders who are already elderly, taking care of people, whether that's a young adult or a child, it's a lot. It's a lot on them.
Mm.
1/3 of all U.S. people in the country, 1/3 of United States citizens are caregivers now. Most are female, but thank God the men are stepping up. Hello, men. Thank you out there. Men are stepping up. And by the way, Jesus is the greatest caregiver. And most of the people who are taking care of their family members, most are caring for an aging parent, but at the same time, most are what we call invisible.
Hmm.
They're employed part-time. So this has become a public health crisis. It's not just a local crisis. This is a national crisis. We have over 65 million caregivers, and I think that number is higher than what the stats say. So,
Hmm.
men, thank you for stepping up. Men, I'm seeing a increase in men stepping up, taking care of their spouses, taking care of their sisters and brothers, taking care of mama. Men are stepping up, and I really appreciate that, because we consider it a predominantly female um, area of performance, and it's really not. It's whoever's called to do that job. It could be a male. So I know a lot of men doing it by themselves, and they have other sisters and brothers. So yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, now, right quick, and okay, Lucretia, great topic. Thank you, thank you. Um, those in the audience, though, and this is a show of hands. How many of y'all either have been a caregiver, presently been a caregiver, or needed a caregiver at one point? This show of hands. Show of hands, okay? And shucks, I might as well raise my hand. I've been a caregiver twice.
Okay.
Took care of my late grandfather and my late sister. When I was took sick 3 years ago. Guess what? I needed a caregiver. So just so I understand caregiving is very important. AB from Canada, great to have you here. See, I was a caregiver twice. Yes. Okay. Renee Duncan from Jersey. Biscuit. Okay. Angela Wu, long distance. Now that's interesting. Raise a hand. Yeah, Sonia says it. Oops. Let me get this. Michelle, Sonia. If you're looking at it, it's a lot of folks. Lacrete. I know that caregivers will receive extra blessings. Oh, yes. Yes. I had one. Hey, Phil, Sister Tuck. I had one temporarily. Sister is primary caregiver. Okay. Cassandra from Kansas. Great to have you. Took care of my grandma, mom, and sister.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Mike, you can care, okay? You can give care and not care,
Mm.
okay? So it's called caregiving because you care and you are giving. You can give without loving, but you can't love without giving, okay? So you can care about something and not give. You can have people over there, family members want to talk about, yeah, I'm coming over there. They care at a distance, they say they do, but care has action to it because it's compassion. Compassion moved to action, whether or not bathing, dressing, taking your parents to the doctor, getting their medicine. You are assisting someone. So the definition of care is this now, since my master's is in studies. So my definition of care is that you're using your God's given gifts to meet people's needs in a way, that improves their lives. You're meeting God's you're using your God's given gifts in a way. As a child of God, you are using your God's given gifts in a way that meets people's needs to improve
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is. And I want to say that you have different types of caregivers. You got those who are paid, professionals like me, but I'm also a family caregiver. You got people who are unpaid, who are our families, our friends, our neighbors, and we have the unpaid who's saving this healthcare system that we have in this country for 400 to 500 billion dollars a year. That's how much they save.
Mm-hmm.
Without the families, the friends, the neighbors, the system would be broken. What are you going to do with all these people? You can't. We don't want to have them found dead in their homes. And I'm trying to thumb it down a little bit. Okay, what I mean by that is we're going to have to come up with a plan. And the churches involved too. God has called the churches to assist and take care of the widows and the elders. The churches don't get a pass. Back in the day, we had home, church, and school in that order. We had the home, they'll get us at the church, and then the school. The church has become relevant again. Pastors have got to start talking about these issues from the pulpit. And we're talking about long distance caregivers. You got people who are managing their parents at a distance. That's a caregiver too. So as a result, Mike, of all of this, you got health decline with caregivers. Okay, you got the sacrifice and the burden of carrying that. I have 7 siblings and we work together. And then most of them are nurses. But look at this. The sacrifice takes its toll. Okay? Your back start hurting. Your knees are hurting because you're lifting. Your shoulders are hurting. You got rotator cuff problems. You got depression that's creeping up because nobody else is helping. You know, they say they love you, but where are they? You got sibling abuse. I have coined the word sibling abuse. Because how is it you can have 7 or 8 sisters and brothers, you only have 2? Well, they're watching your health decline. They're watching you get depressed. They're watching you do it by yourself. They're watching you get sick. They're watching you get arthritis. They're watching. And some of them just want to control the finances. They want to control that money, right? They want to be where their check is. They want to use their parents' social security card and numbers, and they want to wait to the 3rd of the month and control the money. Well, I want to be the power of attorney. You want to control at a distance. But God sees all, and family conflicts are regular now, a constant basis. When I'm working with patients, I'm talking to family members now. You need to stay together. You all need to have family meetings. And that conflict might sometimes stems for generations. Generations might, because our children are watching us. Our generations are watching us. They're watching us fight over money and things. They're watching us take from our parents. And when we put that kind of seed in the ground, God says things will go well with you when you honor your parents. What I mean by honor, that means you hold that position. It's not about what they did and didn't do for you, because none of us had perfect parents. But you hold that position of honor because you want God's blessings more than you want man's approval. And God uses that is to say, hey, I'm going to add on to it. I'm going to add, things will go well with you, that your days may be long, that things will go okay. You take care of the parents, because as I reflect back, my parents weren't perfect. I love my parents. I am a mama's girl. I was closer with my mom, but my mom did the best that she could do. Food stamps, them coloring books that we used to get, all that cheese and butter and welfare. I'm a product of the projects, proud of it, because what God can do for you, he can do for someone else. God is no respecter of person. And you work hard to get yourself out of that situation. So we can say we have more than enough. Mike, we have more than enough. Everybody can't be a caregiver. And I want to talk about that. Now, everybody cannot be a caregiver. Everybody can't do it, Mike.
No.
Everybody can't do it. And I want to spend a minute talking about who can't do it. What are some signs you got the wrong one watching mom, grandma, pawpaw, ma dear? You got the wrong one doing it. And my 43 years of experience tells me I know just meeting them. Here are some signs. I wrote them down, so I'm just going to round them off. If they're selfish, grief family members, okay? If they're abusive, they're abusive with their mouth. They're fast talking your parents. They're scamming your parents' grandson, and they're scamming just a big leech. If they're seeking to take advantage of your loved ones, if you are watching that blood's on your hands, because we should be protecting our elders. If your caregiver is not consistent, he or she shows up when they want to show up, or I can't do it today, if they're not reliable. Mike, if you got a caregiver that doesn't care, that's the worst of it all. I work with people who don't care. And they sometimes professional people. If you got a caregiver that wants to isolate the parents, they don't want the family members coming over because they do. Don't you know everything can be traced now? There's no secrets. If you have access to the account, I recommend you document everything to keep yourself out of jail, okay? Because everything can be followed. If they have to go to a nursing home in the future, they can trace everything. Another thing that caregivers, they want to get rid of their aging parents. Did you hear me? Throw away your aging parents. Nursing home is the first option. Oh my God, I work in them. Are you telling me some of them are plotting for their loved one to get sick? Get them to the hospital. Say that the doctor said he or she going to long-term care. It's just, we're out of control. We've got to get back to taking care of one another. I'm fussing a little bit because I'm full, but we've got to get back to the basics. We've gotta have the Lord in us as we walk and talk. I was in a patient's room well, I'll say this morning, yesterday and this morning. This lady in her 80s grabbed my hand. She said, "We need you." She said, "You need to be a mouthpiece." Her family's trying to put in there. She has plenty of money, and her family's trying to put in a facility. That's a family's issue. That's when the family should get together and discuss those things.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell them I'm still alive. I got dementia, and please, baby, God has called you to do this. When people are sick and on their bed of affliction, they know if you care about them. You don't have to say anything. Your presence of the Lord speaks for you. Your ability to have compassion and love for that sick person, know it because your senses are heightened. And another sign of a bad caregiver is that they're lacking forgiveness. Oh my goodness. Mama did that back in the day. Daddy treated me different than he did. Get over it. Get over it. You say you know the Lord. Get over it. Our job is to do what we can for our parents while they're living on this earth. We can do what we can. I have a piece about mine. I've been involved for my mom, and I'm not comparing myself. Everybody's situation is different, and we're not going to deal with molestation, what our parents did back in the day. We're not dealing with that with this show. What I'm saying to you is that a lack of forgiveness. You can't look with compassion in your eyes and see the suffering of another person.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
So that should come. A person who's mature, you grow up and say, "Well, that's the past." You want to have a peace about it so you won't tear up that funeral. I don't want to hear it. Okay? I got 3 children. Don't tear up those pews, jump in the coffin, hanging all over the coffin. It's too late then. It's too late. You give the flowers while they're alive.
You know what? A young lady, I call her a young lady, though. She just recently celebrated her 99th birthday. But a couple of days before my grandpa died, she stood there and prayed with me and everything. And she said, those who did the least gonna cry the most.
I'm yeah, tear it up. But
And we'll tear it up. Let me read a few comments. Then I'm gonna give the floor back to you.
okay.
Just keep going. You all right. Get you a little sip of water. But because these are good comments though. Okay. As Randy says, presently caregiver of my mom now. Okay. Minister Stanley, I've helped with my father, my sister. Then I needed a caregiver while going through cancer. Okay. Marcus, sadly, I was one for my mom before her transition. Okay. Let me see what else. We do not have time to cry and grieve. Mm. I became the caregiver of my youngest brother during his final stage of stomach cancer. Wow. AB, my dad prayed over me. My mom called me her friend. I consider those acts blessings too.
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
Now listen to this. Now look at this right here. Latoya says, everyone cannot do it. I hired CNAs for a home health company and had to let go many because they didn't have care or compassion for
Yes.
our patients.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You hear that?
Yes, yes.
I told my Sonia says, I told my parents they would live with me before I put them in a nursing home. Uh-huh. They always do the guilt gets to them. Yeah. That is true, falling all over the casket.
Yes, yes.
Take me with me. I don't want you to go, okay?
That's right. Mike, it's just too much. If
Mm-hmm.
we work together, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want, if your heart's not in it, you need to stay over there. The person who said it's not for everybody, let me explain that. Running errands for mom and going to get medicine and shopping, that's one thing. Okay.
Yes.
To be bathing a person 24/7 hours a day, doing it consistently. That's a call.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
call by God. Everybody can't deal with feces and urine. And unfortunately, I'm gonna talk about us family members. Sometimes we'll put our family members in harm's way. We want that check so bad, holding on to that Social Security check, holding
Mm-hmm.
on to their pension. We
Mm-hmm.
won't even take them to the hospital. By the time they get to the hospital, they got sores on them, which is a
Yeah.
form of neglect. They've lost weight. They've been dehydrated. They got a urinary tract infection. By the time they take them to the hospital, they're almost dead. And that's when we see them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the therapist we're trying to
Yeah.
revive. So it's you
Mm-hmm.
doing what's right. Most of us know what's right, but money, I'm gonna say it 3 times. Money, money, money. This country is in trouble because we worship money. You know, how much you gonna give me? I can't go and get your groceries because I gotta have some gas. Always taking. The world is full of takers. Full of takers. I'm so sick of takers. Um, just want to suck your bone dry. Can't do anything just to bless a person. Then you always looking for a blessing. God says, press down, shaking together, and running over. You can't beat God giving you when you do it from the heart. He says a merry heart does you well. And
Mm-hmm.
and because I'm an ex-pastor's wife, walking in the spirit also means that you're humble. You have to be humble for God to use you. You have to
Mm-hmm.
sit quietly and divorce the drama. We got to stop all this drama in the family and do what we can while we can because our children are watching us and our children are watching you dump your parents. They're going to do you the same way. Some things are caught and some things are taught. They're going to watch. My sons automatically do caregiving. They're automatically down there with grandma. I'm raising them, my 3 grandsons. The first one cried. They're automatically bringing water. We've got to start. Other cultures are doing it. We're talking about America now, the land of the free. We want our freedom. We don't want any responsibility. We don't want to sacrifice. Um, we want the blessing without doing the work. You have to put something in the ground. And Mike, before we move on, caregiving month is November. I'm gonna be dealing with a lot of these issues, but I'm fussing, but I'm also fussing out of concern because I believe
Mm-hmm.
all have an opportunity, Mike. We all have an opportunity to serve. And we got to walk that walk by ourselves. Stop worrying about what your sisters and brothers are doing. They may
Mm-hmm.
not be doing anything but trying to boss you around. Oh, you need to
Mm-hmm.
do this. They're sitting in the background not helping. Really? You're not helping? And every family has those. Now look at this. Jesus at the cross appointed who? John, right? John the beloved.
Yes.
It
Yes.
was not about blood. He chose somebody who was close to him in his own,
Yes.
somebody who loved him. He says, who is your family? Who is your family? Your family is the one that's going to do my purpose and my will. It's not always about the blood. In fact, there's a Judas in every family. Some family members you don't need to call because they're looking to take. But Jesus is the best example of how we're to love and reach out and know how to draw boundaries around people when they're trying to take advantage of us. And I'm going to talk about that at the end. But Jesus is the greatest caregiver. And if we would glean from some of those fruits of the Spirit that I'm actually going to talk about in a second, that we will walk what we're talking and take the time out to do what we can, you watch God work. We never go lacking. Most of us have more than what we even deserve. And how could we? I never forget, I had a lady, she had about 14 children on the wall. I said, oh, you got a bunch of grandchildren. She said, those are my children. And she's in a facility, in a nursing home. I said, where do they live? Oh, they all live within a 15-mile radius. Okay? You mean to tell me she worked for 50 some years mopping the floors of Caucasian people, slaving, and when she got to where she couldn't care for herself, I call wiping the buttocks. Okay? When you get to a point on your bed of affliction, you look up all those people around when you first get sick, and then they start tapering away because they're afraid of a little bit of work. You're going to ask them to do a little something. They start thinning out, thinning out. Our elders are dying from a broken heart, which is a real condition. They're dying from grief, losing their spouse, divorce. They're dying from a broken heart. She told me this day that she was dying from a broken heart. She said, Clarissa, I'm not dying from a heart disease, cancer, stroke. I'm not dying from being on dialysis. I'm dying from a broken heart. Where's my granddaughter? I put all that money. Where's my grandchildren? Nobody calls me anymore. Nobody calls nobody. We don't have time because we on Facebook, right? Like we are right now. We on social media flipping and scrolling. We have got to slow it down and get our priorities. Take care of our own families. Make sure we check on our aging parents, our relatives, our friends, our grandparents, our neighbors. We've got to now develop. If not, we're going to find people dead in their houses. One more story. We had a lady a couple of weeks ago. She died. It was a lady. All she needed was, when I looked into it, that's why I started Caregiving International. When I looked into it, all she needed was somebody to get her medicine. You got 4 churches now, right there. All she needed was, she was calling around, trying to get somebody to get her medicine from Walmart. And they found her and her dead about 7 or 8 days later. Because you could see her where she had the phone in her hands. Okay, so we got to do better. We got to do better. I want to take a second and talk about what makes a great caregiver. It's not where you've been, it's where you're going. It's a heart thing. It's not an education thing. It's you doing what God has put in your hands to do. Your vineyard is right there. Your vineyard is right there where He's planted you. Stop going so far. Look to the left, look to the right. Go to your neighbors. We've got to get back to that. I know everybody's scared of crime, but we've got to get back to that. So look at this. What makes a great caregiver? Compassion, empathy. You're walking in the fruits of the spirit of joy. You're excited to serve. You're thankful to serve. When my patients see me, they go, oh my gosh, I can wait till the weekend, Clarissa, because they know I'm going to give them attention. I'm going to give them 100% of me. It's a calling. God has called me to it. It's who I am. I'm excited to serve. A good caregiver is excited to serve and is rooted in love. You're going to walk in joy and peace. You're not going to bring sick folk drama. People are already sick. Whatever the case is, whether it's a child, they're already going through things, and you're going to bring that drama. You want to walk in kindness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control, fussing all over your parents, disrespect, arguing over money. You want to be rich in service. You want to be rich. I feel wealthy. My bank account doesn't show it, but I feel wealthy, Mike, because I have a lot in the bank of service. I feel like God is going to take care of me no matter which one of my children come. I feel like God is going to have a ram in the bush for me. So He'll take care of you. Can't nobody do it because He's the ultimate caregiver. And then just with a couple of minutes left that we have, I want to touch on caring for yourself. Okay?
Okay. Can please let me put what Latoya put up here.
What she say? What did she say?
She said, you can't teach care and compassion. You either have or you don't.
That's right. That's right. You can facilitate it. Okay, let me give you an example. You can show it. Be the change you want to be. You can work your way into feeling. So even if you don't have all of it, God has it in you because you're a child of God, right? We learn everything else. So I'm not saying teach it. I'm saying develop by doing. When you take yourself out the box and start helping somebody else and get out of your depression, get out of your funk, and stop making it all about you, maybe you can help somebody. That's how it's facilitated. I'm not saying going up there to teach people how to feel. God gave you a feeling. We use it romantically. When we have a date, those feelings come out then, don't you? So what you want to do is expose yourself to caring for love and loving, whether that's a pet, whether it's a child, whether it's an adult child. You can foster compassion. You can learn how to love yourself while loving somebody else. So you're not teaching it, but you're developing those skills, those emotions by being in the right environment. If you're in a negative environment all the time, oh yeah, that's what you're going to get. So wholeness, Jesus came spiritually, not just physically. He wanted to heal. He healed the person and blessed the person, but he came for wholeness. I want you to be whole. So we're to be good stewards over, as caregivers, over our time, our health, and our money. That's wealth. Healthy with our time and our money and how we live. That's wealth. That's wealth and prosperity. As caregivers, we also have to now establish boundaries. Sometimes you just gotta say, no, I can't do it. You're squeezed in between taking care of mom and dad and taking care of your own children and grandchildren. We got a whole load on grandparents. We're tired. We're tired. Do your part. I mean, if you have a grandparent that's working like me, I can't do it all. I'm going to have to say I can do them some weekend. Sometimes I have to say no. You want to also be able to help yourself, because if your health fails, who's going to take care of you? Who's going to do it? How many friends do you think you have? Oh, let me tell you, get sick. We used to say you can count them on one hand. Now I'm saying you can count them on three fingers. If you have three, go home tonight. If you're already in your bed, think about how many people that you think you know going to be there for you if you got sick. If you can count them on three fingers, God bless your soul. I'm not talking, because the ones who you typically think going to be there may not be there for you. Caregiving is something else. I love it. And understand that you can't do it all by yourself. That's how your health fails. Now, based on compassion, you want to be able to show love and compassion. How can you consider yourself a child of God? Jesus had compassion on them. Jesus was moved with compassion. Jesus wept. We have a role model, and we're passionate about material things.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all compassionate about those MK purses, passionate about the purse. What's that? Cologne, Versace. When we compassion, yeah, we need to get in priority. Another thing as a caregiver, I want to kind of wrap up is we want to make sure that we're showing gratitude for every day that God has given us the ability to serve. The ability to serve. We are the happiest people on earth. Do you know that? When you're serving, you're making a difference. I don't want to see the Lord one day, and he says, oh, you didn't do anything with the gifts and talents I gave you, Clarissa. I want to die empty. All gone, I'm done. By the way, I'm not having a funeral, okay? I just want them to have a graveside, sing a song. We're not spending no money on all that stuff. That's a whole nother conversation. But I wanted, too much money spent on it. I just, my work will be done on this. And as a caregiver, you want to make sure that you know that you're doing the best that you can. Now, I'm going to say one more thing. The healthcare system does not want you. As a caregiver, if you try to do it all, you get sick, who's going to take your place? You've got to be smart about it. We can go into that in more detail, but you've got to make sure that you are prioritizing what's important. You've got to watch your money, because caregiving can be expensive. You got to get rid of those freeloaders who aren't helping you but bringing you down. Okay, they're only around to use you. You as a caregiver, you have enough on you. We need to be focusing on, Mike, changing the culture. As a people, I'm talking to everybody regardless of race. That's what I love about caregiving. There's no respect of race. Everybody's going to get here. It's not about this division, this lack of diversity that's going on in America. That's anti-God, in my opinion. Because God, all you got to do is go outside and see diversity. That's all you got to see. Diversity is everywhere. Look at the ancestors. Look at the dogs. We're all uniquely created.
Mm-hmm.
It's just changing the culture. You be the light. You be that light. You start somewhere. Reach out and help somebody. I promise you, your depression is anger might turn inside out. Depression. You're depressed. You shouldn't have time to be depressed for real. If you're on a mission by God, God has called you to help people. No matter what that is, driving the bus, being a school teacher, raking the yard, cutting the grass. You're a caregiver of the grass. You do it with all that you have, and God will bless. I believe that. One more thing I want to say is that before we wrap, is that it's our job. God requires, Mike, that we make provision for our parents. We shouldn't throw away our parents. If it gets too much, 24/7 care, you need to be making a decision with the family. You need to be talking to the social worker, finding out what kind of resources are in your area. But I'll be John Brown. Dropping your parents off, not going back to visit. Oh, I went into a lady's house a couple of weeks ago with the church. No canned goods. Nothing in the refrigerator. Not a chicken bone anywhere. Just bare. She can barely walk, walking on a walker, uses a wheelchair. Are y'all serious? We got to get off them pews long enough to get in the community. We've got to get back. And otherwise, we're going to have DHR. We're going to have the system coming in on us. For example, you allow your parents to be neglected, you can be found guilty as a caregiver. They will trace that back. If you are receiving funds to be taking care of your loved one, you better be doing it. Your neighbor, we had a situation where the neighbor called. Hey, I know she's in that house. I know nobody's been there. Home health is in there knocking on the door. Please, let's keep our loved ones out of the system. Out of the system. We want our parents as happy as long as possible. And we want our children to model the same. And it's just, that's what honor is. That's what honor is. And Mike, when you're talking about leading, we can do our part. Everyone has a part to play, whether that's a slice of the pie that you play. You might not be the primary caregiver, but you're something that you can do. You can send money. You can be the one that calls every two times a week. You'll be the person who runs the errands. Families, let's work together. Please, let's work together. Our family works together. We have someone who does the money. I'm the one that does the care because that's my area. I'm the one that makes sure she doesn't have a pressure sore on her heel, that she's eating right, she's eating her puree, that the food is tasty, that she's getting her medicine on time. That's my strength. My other sister calls and checks on the resources. It's a family affair when you can invite that. If you're the only child, we understand. There are circumstances, but do what you can so you can have a peace about it. Any other questions? I got more information, but I think that's enough to kind of. What you think, Mike? Do I need to? Anything else you want me to elaborate on? Anybody has any other questions?
Do y'all have studio audience? Do y'all have any questions for the good doctor? Put it in the comment section, and we'll definitely try to answer. But I got a question for you while they're doing this. And like I said, just ask any questions, And because you and I talked about this, is about being a caregiver and dating. Being a caregiver and dating.
Okay.
How does that affect, or how have you witnessed that since you are a caregiver and, like you're taking care of an elderly, like you said, an elderly person, could be a parent or a relative, a special needs person, relative. How does that affect relationships?
It does. When you're dating someone, you need to take your time. You need to slow your roll. You need to follow them. You need to have some bad days because dating is a mask. Everybody's faking the funk, at least for the 3 to 6 months. You need to find out who raised him or her. Who raised them? Who raised you? You need to see how he interacts or she interacts with their parents, whether that's the grandparent. That's how they're most likely to treat you. In a lot of cases, I like mama's boys for the most part. I like men. I personally prefer men who are endeared to their mother, who has a tender side. See, America has fattened up that ego, the ego of the man. Now women, we've become so masculine because we're bouncing back and forth. We have so many responsibilities. Being single is tough. We have to learn to get soft again, a little bit more feminine. Watch our tone. Watch how we talk to a man. A man needs respect and admiration. A lot of this you won't see until you get sick.
Mm.
Have a bad day where you're in the bed. If the brother or sister want to even offer to come bring you a cup of soup or to go to a pharmacy store and get your medicine for you, you know, the Bible says you'll know them by their fruit. You don't love me if you don't never do nothing for me. I like to see the action. You gotta see what they're saying and what they're doing lining up. If they don't line up, that's a fraud. And that's
Mm-hmm.
you need to go ahead and say I'm gonna talk to the hand now. What I mean by that is a lot of people in dating, they're looking for what they can get, not what they can give. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you have to slow your roll. Don't have sex with them. Make them wait, starve it out. Your stuff is priceless. You the queen. Okay? You don't set it out like that. A brother stepping to me gotta earn it. What I mean by that is not work for me, but have a mutual understanding, a mutual respect for me. And you have to date long enough to see what you got. Eventually, that snake gonna raise his head. All you gotta do is there's a lot of stuff you can do, but relationships and caregiving, Mike, is tough. And another thing, if the guy or woman never asked about your parents, they should be curious about your history. They should be curious, where did you grow up? I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, but I live in Alabama. They should be curious, you know, who raised you? How did you get this way? What happened to you as a child? What schools did you go to? They should be, how many children you got? You keep them, you, for the most part, don't introduce them to your children. No man should be coming around your children. How do you know what their history is? That's one thing I'm proud of. Thank you very much. When I started back going out, I won't bring a man around my children. Now, one in four, what is it? One in three or four girls are molested. And then boys are now in that number, one in five or something like that. It doesn't matter now. You got a boy, you got a girl. Your children have to be protected. If you're a single woman, you have to protect them. You have to put structure in the house. And if they're talking back to you now, a lot of guys aren't going to stay around women. I mean, sometimes we trying to baby them. If they're talking back to you now, you wonder why they're acting up at school. If your children won't respect you at the house, why you expect them to act right at school and at church? We are out of order. We're out of order. And I believe that women are strong. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about raising a generation that's going to work together, stick together, love one another, and not kill one another. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they're feeding right into the system. And I'm not going to go into all. I have two sons. So uh, early on, respected. I don't open my car door. You're going to clean the house. You're giving them chores now. They're not too good to work. Working is good for you. Working builds character. Working makes you strong. Working allows you to respect what your parents given to you, and you need to earn it. My first son's car, oh, you got to work for that. I'm not going to. They need to see and suffer just a little bit. The problem is we've given our children too much. We make them entitled. Oh, you're supposed to have that iPhone. No, you don't. I'm going to pull it if I have to. And the role of the man is being neglected. And I can't go into that right now. Mike, we've got to pull. I don't want to see their daddy. We've got to get back. We've got to get back. We are out of order. We've drank the Kool-Aid. We've drank the Kool-Aid. And we've got to get back to unifying our families. Men got to get back to grabbing their sons before the world gets them. Either you're going to get them or the world's going to get your sons. We've got to get serious in our church communities. We've got to
Mm-hmm.
have strong leadership. We don't need you playing behind the pulpit. Won't you have a sermon about getting a will? Won't you have a sermon about everybody getting together and canvassing that neighborhood? Won't you have a sermon about who's skipping school in that neighborhood? The churches should be on top of whoever's leaving school and grab those children. Grab them right there in school. If you have to pick them up at the school and take them somewhere else, they've got to be mentored. We're lacking in leadership. And we need our black men. We need our men, period. But we need our black men to step up. I'm an advocate of that. I think we got great men out here, and we just need to continue to support them and encourage them to work together with that parent. You
Yeah.
got us here. God holds us accountable. The prisons, they're building more prisons. They're building more. For every child that can't read by the third grade, they have a prison for you because they know illiteracy is tied with prison rate. It's just so much that we can do better. We got to stop waiting for somebody else to solve our problems. They're not going to do it. We have to solve our own problems in our community. We can't wait for somebody else to come who don't care anything about us and our children to come and solve our problems. We have to do it. The church, the home, and the school. We got to grab them at home. We don't get them at home. Why is it you don't know where your child is at 10 o'clock on a Friday? Where are they? I blame the parents. It's not the child in a lot of cases. It's the parents. You
Okay.
should know where your child is. You should know if your child is with the wrong gang. You should know if they're skipping school. I mean, it's just, we've got to take responsibility. Nobody is going to do this for us. We're losing too many. We're losing too
Mm-hmm.
many. And when my sons leave, I always say a prayer. Because being African American in America,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a prayer, but it's also stop running and believing the hype. We got issues of rap and calling women all kind of names. We are in a mess. You talk about caregiving. We're in a mess. How is it I get to be a B? I'm out here working,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not cute. And we need to stop laughing at all this talking back.
Mm-hmm.
All this talking back. Oh, it's so cute. No, it's not cute. Because
Mm-hmm.
grandma, she's gonna be calling you names next. She'll be going to the school and kindergarten. We have to pull that in and get
Mm-hmm.
serious about our.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I do for a living.
Any any closing remark? Let me see. I'm trying to think. Do I want to wait? Know what? I'll wait. I'll wait. I give you the closing remarks to after the announcements, y'all. Oh yeah. Wait. Shireen says, right, preach. There you go. See, I knew it. You got cranked up. I see you
All
look
right,
at me.
I don't do that. I
I,
tried.
she took them glasses off. I knew it was over with right there. I knew. I said, yeah, there she go. There she go. Okay. Well, we go to let's get the announcements. Oh boy, I enjoy it, but let's get this announcements though. Okay, up next at the bottom of the hour, 30 minutes or wherever time I decide to do it. We're gonna have the after party. The Zoom link is up. You have to be a member of the groups to get in, but if well, I'll extend a special invitation to Doc over here, but then we'll just see. She might want to go to sleep. I don't know what she might want to do. But anyway, though, but just join in, bring your libations, your snacks, and everything else, okay? And then next week, Lord's willing, we will have the weekly fellowship, which will be at the same time. This and again, you know the protocol. And the week after that, Lord willing, we'll have another exciting, informative, and uh well-versed edition of SBC Tuesday Talk. Okay. I know I've enjoyed you. And of course, show Dr. Clarissa Fells Smith love. She said, read what ABC is. You have to come back again.
Oh,
Mm.
oh, that's
Oh,
sweet. I hope I didn't fuss too much. You think they're gonna be mad at me? Are
oh
you?
no. Now, how many of y'all want her to come back? Just let us know in the comments. We're gonna put it up there. You know, they'd have loved it though.
Good to
You know,
see it.
y'all let her know. You know, because it took me a miracle to get her up here in the first place. But anyway, so any closing remarks? The floor
I
is yours. Any closing remarks?
want to continue to pray for everyone that chimed in tonight, and I'm praying that we'll all continue to strive to be the best person that we can be. If you
Mhm.
look at it, it's not where you've been, it's where you're going. And God asks, he continuously loves us so much that he blesses us anyway. You know, we have to be able to step outside, be able to make a difference. I want each person to find somebody to bless.
Mhm.
Time to be depressed. We don't have that kind of time. Volunteer at a school. Use your time to be able to impact. Find out who your neighbors are on the side, the front, and the back. And we
Mhm.
start to we take the church from the church to the community. That's what
Mhm.
it is. You are the church. So you take the spirit of God. You walking and talking as though you know God is in you. The spirit dwells within. The spirit leads and guide you. I'm like, God, I don't have all the answers. I know I have a heart to serve and I've paid the price to suffer.
Mhm.
I'm better off because I have had a rough life. I have had to suffer. I now believe everybody might needs to suffer. I now think that everybody needs to go without a little bit every now and then. We've gotten so comfortable, coming home to pinto beans and cornbread with a little bit of ham hock in it. Them days, those were some good days. We were grateful for what we had. And God requires that we do what we can for one another.
Mhm.
We gotta love, Mike. We just got to love. Get back to loving and taking care of one another. We gotta get back there. Put aside our
Mhm.
differences and say, hey, I don't agree with you. I agree to disagree. But
Mhm.
we're gonna do this for mom and dad. We're gonna stick together. We're not gonna fight over stuff, over trinkets, over the
I get
car.
you.
You
I
know?
get you.
So I'm thankful for that, Mike. And thank you
Okay.
for having me, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Now look, I'm gonna read these comments. Shireen says we need a part two. Okay. Patsy says enjoyed this. Come back.
Oh,
Yes. This
thank
to
you
the
for the
say
prayer.
this. Yeah. Oh, if you can write some legislation. Pastor Duffy Collins said, great information. Angela Wooden says, come back.
Oh, y'all
Dr.
make me cry. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
thanks. Please
I'm
come back soon.
oh,
Sonia said, really enjoyed it tonight. Cuz said, thank you. No, we need this. Come back.
oh
And
my
Reginald says, come back. Pastor Balder says, awesome presentation tonight, Doc.
God.
So yeah, so yes, they
Humble.
so you heard them. That's the only
Oh,
thing I get to say. You heard them.
be on the
So
ground tomorrow. I mean, I'm thank them for listening and hanging in there with me.
okay, well these some good people. Trust
I see.
these
Yeah.
are good people.
See.
They when times I don't want to do this show, I think about them and you see
Wow.
why they good. They good people. That's all thing I thank God for them. So okay. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Clarissa. Thank you so much. Now, and to y'all, everybody be careful out there. You know, this world crazy these days. So be careful, be safe out there. Stay vigilant. Be aware of your surroundings and all the other good stuff. And most importantly, don't take any wooden nickels. Okay? Until next time, y'all take care of yourselves and so long, everybody.
We met where the sun greets the sky so high. Laughter in your eyes where my dreams collide. You held my hand when the storms poured down. Turned the gray into light when I wore a frown. Through thick and thin you were always there. The moments we shared, nothing can compare. A love that blooms where the roots run deep. In your arms is a place where my soul can sleep. Oh, oh, oh. We walk through valleys where shadows fall.